If you're thinking about moving and you want to learn about what everyday life is going to be like in your new town, this is the place for you. On Open House, we sit down with local, top producing real estate agents to help you find the best places to live in DC, Maryland, and Virginia. So if you don't want buyer's remorse and you want to find your dream town, we are here for you. So go ahead and book a free call with us and we'll help guide you to the area that is right for you. Now, let's jump in and learn about your new home.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Open House. I'm Mike, and today we're going to be talking with Pam Callis, a local resident in the Yorktown, Virginia area. And we're going to be covering everything from homes to entertainment. So, Pam, thanks for coming on the show today. To kick things off, how long have you been in real estate?
I have been in real estate since 2001, January of 2001.
Gotcha. So you are a seasoned vet.
How
long have you lived in the Yorktown area?
Well, I grew up in Matthews, Virginia, which is about 30 minutes away. I currently reside in Gloucester Point, which is right across the bridge. So I'm from this area, born and bred, know the area. I've always worked this area in my real estate career.
Gotcha. What got you into real estate?
I was a fiscal manager at a facility in Gloucester, Virginia, and decided that I was ready to move on and do what I had, fulfill my dreams. And so 2001 maybe wasn't the best time to get in, but I've made a great career for myself, and it's just, go with the flow, you just have to change when the market changes.
Yeah, it's rare to see someone who really wanted to get into real estate. I feel like a lot of people kind of like, oh no, I slipped and now I'm a real estate agent. It just kind of happens.
Yeah, I was very fortunate. I passed my test the first time, which doesn't always happen. And so yeah, I've had a great career. I've been with the same company for most of it. I have been with a couple of other companies, but within the same area since 2001.
So how large is the Yorktown area?
Yorktown, Poquoson, which is a small city within York County, 70,000 people.
Gotcha. So it's we're not talking big city here, but we're also not really rural. It's got a little smaller of a vibe to it. Yes,
for sure.
And that's almost what you want. That kind of fits, given the surroundings. Anytime you have this like waterfront area, I feel like the less densely populated it is, the more you enjoy yourself there.
Exactly. And we are growing and growing and growing.
It's inevitable. It happens, and that's normally indicative of a nice area to begin with, because otherwise you wouldn't be.
We are.
Yep. What would you say the median home price of the area is?
As of last month, September of 2022, the median price actually was I was a little surprised. It was $242,900 for September of last, which to me is I feel like it's a little low to get, and that would get you into a 3-bedroom, 2 maybe a half bath, 1,600 square foot home. Yes, typically what I think of getting into York County would be more of the high 4s up into the low 5s and then on up to get you into a community with neighborhood with HOA, and yes.
So I have to pay more and I get an HOA? Wow, what a bonus.
I know. People tend to migrate here. A lot of it is because of the schools and because of the beautiful area that we live in.
Gotcha. So is there I obviously you said it's growing, so I'd imagine there's a decent amount of new developments and such kind of parking up all over the place.
There are new developments. We had a lot of new construction pop up within the past couple of years, but the resale is just really good here. We have huge military population.
Mm.
We have Army, Navy, Coast Guard. What am I missing? We have them all. We're all
Yeah.
right here. Huge military. So they support us a lot in the market, whereas with the turnover.
Yeah,
the turnover is a lot, yeah.
Anytime you have a big military population, you get that kind of every 2 to 4 year turnover because
Exactly.
yeah,
Yes.
which is good because it almost serves to, and I say this living in St. Mary's County, that's right next to, we have the Pax River Naval Air Station here. You see,
Mhm.
you kind of see the rotation, this influx of every 2 years. It's like it keeps the market fresh. It's like constantly cycling.
It does. And there's so many people. I have so many clients who have made their home here. They have been in the military and they have lived here. Some of them have been on their second, the second round.
Mhm.
And this is where they want to be. Actually, I sold a home this past year to a couple who are based in Florida. They're both of their parents and families are in Florida, but he's Coast Guard, and they have decided this is their home. This is where they want to be.
When it comes to the economics of the area, is there? I would imagine most of the employment is local. Do you get commuters to other areas? I don't.
Well, it's interesting. The Newport News shipbuilding is in Newport News, which is about a 20-minute commute, and that does employ a lot of people in this area. We also have Cannon. We have 2 Cannon sites within our area, Newport News, and there's one actually in Gloucester, Virginia. And then, the professionals, there are people who do commute over to Norfolk, to the naval bases, and then the military.
How much of a trek is it to Norfolk?
Norfolk is about 30 minutes. You have to go through the tunnel, or there's 2 tunnels you can choose, but it's going to be about 30 minutes unless you get stuck in traffic.
I could be saying that as someone who lives, in the gravitational pull of DC. To me, 30 minutes is like a quick jaunt.
It's like 5 minutes down the road, right?
Yeah,
Really.
exactly. Like I'm like, oh, it's under an hour and a half. That's like right next door,
We live in Gloucester Point, which is right over the bridge from York County. And he is at the shipyard. He's upper management at the shipyard, and it takes him about 40 minutes. So that's not bad.
That's not bad. And you're always kind of weighing your commute against your enjoyment of where you live.
Exactly. And that's why we live where we live, because yes.
I think a lot of people find that the reason they're okay with that kind of middle level commute is because they want to be able to enjoy their peace and quiet when they get home.
Absolutely. York County is within cities. So there's Newport News, there's Hampton, and then there's York County. But York County is considered the county because it has remained to be a little more suburban, a little less city.
And I think that the people nowadays are kind of flocking to those areas. They're flocking to the areas where it's just a little more like, I feel like I have some type of actual worth in my community. I know my neighbors, people are definitely putting a premium on that now.
And it's huge. I have sold in the past couple of years, I have sold houses to, probably in the past couple of years, I'm going to say probably 15 families who are moving from the hustle and bustle of life up north, mainly.
And it's always, it's nice. I've always liked the idea of living, kind of what I call city adjacent. You
Yeah.
know, it's like I like being that little chunk of distance away, because as long as it's not too far, it means if there's a circumstance where, you know, for me, it's DC. If I want to go to DC and I want to go out and have dinner and we want to go see a show or something, it's all right there. It's an hour away from me. And when I'm done with whatever we're doing up there, I could drive home, park in my driveway, go in my house, have my peace and quiet, you know, no neighbors bothering me, no screaming, no traffic, no nothing. It's just all of that freedom of being city adjacent, where it's there if you want it, but you don't have to really.
You don't have to live it day to day.
Yeah, exactly. You're not inundated with it. It's there when you want it to be there, which only going to the city when you want to go to the city is a much better way to deal with the city. When it comes to, you know, this topic is something that I think younger me didn't really understand, although older me has a much more firm grasp on it. A lot of people, in addition to kind of choosing that peace and quiet and that having their space and freedom, are also making a lot of decisions based upon schooling in an area and what type of education their children are going to get. And with that being said, what do the schools look like in the area?
York County schools are amazing. You can do the research yourself, but they have top-notch schools. When I have people that are moving here from different areas, you know, out of state, that are moving here to Virginia in this general Tidewater area, they want to be most of the time in York County when they have small children and they do the research.
Gotcha.
They are known for amazing schools. Yes.
That's what I said. Like I said, yeah, young me was like, why would I ever move somewhere based on schools? But then all of a sudden you have kids and you're like, okay, this tracks. This makes a little more sense now. And that also kind of goes part and parcel with living in a smaller area with a smaller population, is you inevitably have better schools because your child to teacher ratio is not skewed in a horrific direction. You know that you know, you generally have an easier time communicating with the teachers. You know, it just seems to make the entire process a lot easier on all parties.
Absolutely.
All right. What about when it comes to entertainment in the area? Now, I know there's a lot of water around, so I'm assuming all of those activities are kind of baked into things.
Huge activities, yes. We have, you know, boating. We have the history. Yes, boating. We've got excursions. You can do rentals. There's so much to do on the water. Other than the water, we have a lot of history. There's just a tremendous amount of history in our area. Yorktown, of course, the Battle of Yorktown was where the Revolutionary War ended. There's a huge museum in York County that is just amazing. They do reenactments.
You know,
Yeah,
that's something that I've always found. But when I move to a place, I like to kind of like almost explore the history. You know, because it's like,
well, this is where it started. You know,
yeah.
This is where it started. So. Yeah, lots of tourists. More tourism, I'd say, in the Williamsburg area than it is in York County. Close to the museum, there's a beach, and there's restaurants. There's a sushi restaurant. There's, of course, a Riverwalk that has the seafood. The Yorktown Pub, which has been around for probably 60 years or more. Got the views of the York River. They stay packed, you know. And that area itself stays really busy with entertainment. On Thursday nights during the summer, they have bands and dances and festivals on the weekends, farmers markets on Saturday mornings. It's just a fun place for people to gather.
So that there shouldn't be a circumstance where, you know, you look at your significant other and go, well, what do you want to do today? It's more of like, there's so many things to do today.
So many things to do. Always.
And I will say, you know, another thing that I kind of And I think it's because I grew up in Maryland. Virginia's, we always look at it like the little stepbrother over there. Like, we don't talk about Virginia, Um, but
It's the
I've had,
crabs. You're talking because your crabs are better than our crabs.
yeah, I mean they are, yeah. But I was in a circumstance where well, now I've done it a lot, but I remember I first tried Virginia wine. And I kind of went into it with this preconceived notion, like if it doesn't say like Sonoma or Napa Valley or something to that effect, like why am I bothering? But Virginia's actually got a ton of fantastic wineries.
Ton of wineries. Yeah, especially in the Charlottesville area. Yes, which
And
is
that,
a little bit, above us. But yes, within 2 hours, my husband and I went to Charlottesville last weekend. Carter Mountain went just to, enjoy the fall.
yeah.
And 2 hours, that was it. We were there.
And it's one of those things, like I said, I didn't really appreciate that all of this was right here in Virginia.
Mhm.
And then, me and my wife went to a couple wineries, and I'm like, wow, not only it's not just that the wine's good, but you get into certain parts of Virginia and you really get some pretty stunning scenery, which I kind of just wasn't expecting.
It
And
is beautiful. So from where we live, and we're on the water. We're a peninsula. We're on the Chesapeake Bay. There's tons of creeks, tons of rivers, but we are 2 hours to the mountains and an hour to the ocean.
yeah,
It's
it's like
centrally located. It's just beautiful. It's a beautiful, beautiful area. Um,
it's definitely one of those things where you could kind of look at where it's located on a map, and
and
if you
just
kind of
know.
yeah, if you kind of just like went out in like a clockwise fashion, you would inevitably find something to do in every direction.
Absolutely.
which
Yes.
which for anyone watching, it's a great way to go about figuring out what you're going to do at any given time, because you go, well, we're on 1 o'clock now, what's at 1 o'clock, and then you find the map and you go, all right, looks like we got some beach time at 1 o'clock, let's go to the beach. It's
Mhm.
it's all that stuff is right there. And yeah, like you said, an hour down to Virginia Beach, and bam, there's the ocean.
Exactly. I was there for that. It was beautiful. The Blue Angels actually flew right over me. It was very interesting.
Right?
Very cool.
And at the end of the day, you got to go home to the nice peace and quiet of your
Exactly.
your quiet home and your little spot somewhere, and
Mhm.
it's really a great feeling.
Yeah, where you know your neighbors and they know to be friendly and be
Yeah,
there if you need them. But
yeah. It's
it's just
that
nice to
sense
know
of
who is around you.
community is
It is
is
a very much a sense of community here.
yeah,
Yes.
and that's always a good feeling, when you're moving into an area, to know that that's what you're moving into, because something like if you're suddenly moving into downtown DC, that experience is a lot more daunting, simply because you're probably not going to have quite the same kindness just spewing out of your neighbors.
Yeah, you're not going to have people coming over bringing you cookies and a ham and
Yeah,
welcoming you to the neighborhood.
I always make it a point to only live places where my neighbors bring me hams. It's just a rule of
We
mine.
do hams in our neighborhood. So yeah,
That's
come on
smart.
down to Yorktown.
Yeah, exactly. Is there any other uh, special events in the area? Any fairs, festivals, things of that nature?
Oh, there's well, Poquoson every year, I've told you, but the Poquoson is the city within Yorktown. And it's really an interesting little place. It's population 15,000. Um, they did not implement building codes until the 80s. So you can imagine what you have. You have like this cute little rancher, and the next door you have like $1 million home, and then you have next door you have a $700,000 home, and then a $200,000. It's just a very interesting. Everybody knows everybody. Everybody is involved. Anyway, they do each year. They do a seafood festival, and then they also do a fall festival. So that's a big festival. Downtown in Yorktown, they do every Saturday morning, they do a farmer's market, and that's until from 9 to 3 every Saturday. And that's on the waterfront down in Yorktown, usually from the spring till fall, and then they'll cut it off for the winter because it's just people that just don't, in the interest.
I love a good farmer's market. I generally try and avoid them though, because my wife always manages to find the thing that she's never seen before, but now can't live without.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
And
because there's vendors there and you find some
yeah.
really cool stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, oh yeah. I see whose side you're taking here. I can go down there and just, look around and say, oh, that's cool. That's yeah, that's nice.
Oh, it's so
But
pretty. Can I taste
yeah,
it too?
then suddenly it's like, I have to have this. I don't know how I went my whole life without this. And it's like, okay, well, we're not coming back here. You know what? You've lost your farmer's market privileges. You can't be responsible.
We're 20 minutes to Williamsburg. We're, like I said, an hour to Virginia Beach. We're an hour to Richmond. It's just very centrally located.
One thing I always kind of tell people when they're looking at an area and maybe they don't know much about it, or they're a little unsure about moving there, is I always say, I say take a vacation. I say if you don't know an area and you're thinking about it, and maybe it's at the top of your list, but you're not sure, take a vacation. Go spend 4-5 days there. Get an Airbnb someplace where you're relatively local. Explore.
Yes, and meet with an agent and have them show a couple of houses to see what you can get for your money.
Yeah, I think that people, you kind of impulse buy homes sometimes, where it's like, let's do this, and it's like, experience the area first. Let's get to know and make sure. It's just so insanely important. Now, granted, I had to learn this lesson the hard way when I first bought my home. I thought it was like buying or selling anything. Like, I give you money, I now own thing. And no one really explained to me the intricacies that go into that type of situation. I know. I didn't know what I didn't know. Okay. But now it's like having an agent who knows the area and can be a good advocate for you is so incredibly important.
Huge. It's huge. Yes.
And you need to have an agent that understands where you're at, because maybe you have a list of 50 things that you're looking for, but you can only get 80% of those things. Well, you need to find an agent who can make the most with what you're working with.
Right.
And like I said, I think people undervalue that, and people should. This is another one. I say people should try out agents, because not every agent is for every person. Some agents, maybe you don't click with that person. You got to find someone who's on your same level.
And that is so true, because it's so funny. I met with my broker earlier this week, and we were talking, and she's like, Pam, you make friends with all of your clients. She's like, and because they say, they send in, and so I just have, I've made some of my best, absolute, just great friends just from helping them, because I love what I do and I love showing where we live. One of my very, very best friends moved from Michigan. She fell in my lap. I got her as a referral. They bought a house. We just became instantaneously, great friends. So in the whole scheme of things, I know we're talking about York County now, but when you're talking about interviewing for an agent, just make sure that you feel comfortable with that person and know that they know the area.
And that's kind of like a weird roundabout way of putting it, but I think it kind of fits to be like, if you don't want to go have a beer with the person, they probably shouldn't be your agent. Like,
well, you're right.
Because every agent I've dealt with that I really got along with and felt like I got the most out of what I was trying to get, it was a person that I ended up becoming friends with one way or the other. And it's such a strange thing to say, but it just kind of happens
It
that
happens. I know I miss my when I sell and close, I miss them. I miss
way.
them.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think they kind of miss me too sometimes. I get,
The
I
Christmas
miss
card
them.
list just
So,
grows and
I
grows and
know.
grows.
Yeah, and the dinner, who are you going to invite for dinner? Oh, well, yeah,
Well,
let's
They
invite
they moved, they abandoned me. Man, God.
them.
Well, Pam, thanks for taking the time to share your knowledge of Yorktown today. We really appreciate it, and I hope everyone that watched learned something pretty valuable. And also remember, if you're interested in moving to the area and would like to know more, please see the contact information below so we can get you in touch with an agent who's going to facilitate your next home buying experience. Pam, thank you so much.
Thank you.